What is your American dream?
I am in the process of continually reaching my dreams in terms of my career. And as we move forward, I think the biggest American dream that I could think of is everyone having the privilege to not have to justify their existence. Everyone should be able to do that. I think that would be the perfect American dream.
What I dream about is that someday peace will arrive in Afghanistan and in Logar, and that I hope that as much as possible, I'll be able to go back and live there and to perhaps study or teach there.
I mean, in a sense, I'm already living it. I have a great job that I love in academia. I have a great family. What you can make of yourself is obviously partly dependent on your own abilities and what you do, but it's as much or more dependent on whether there are barriers to opportunity. And if we break down those barriers for more people can live out more of their dreams. And in the process, they can benefit others as well as themselves.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, December 13th. We are heading into our holiday week, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elliott, right?
Yes.
The holidays are right around the corner. And what better way to celebrate the holidays than with our crew and the squad, right?
There we go.
And just a programming note, Jonathan, in case you didn't get the memo. Because I know sometimes you don't like to read memos.
I don't.
I know sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But this will be our last shows of the week.
Oh.
This is our holiday week.
It's our holiday week.
And then for come this way. Yeah. You gotta come that way a little bit, a little more. Stop. Okay, and then
Just
you're
doing
like,
what I've been told.
I know, but you're like half in, half out.
I knew it was gonna happen though.
So this is our last show for the week.
Yes.
Our last Fuzzy Monday of 2021.
Yes.
Tomorrow will be our last Tea of 2021. Wednesday will be our last Hump Day of 2021. Thursday will be our last Wacky World News of 2021. And then we all go to the four corners of the world.
We're all going different
places and celebrate Christmas and New Year's. And we'll be in touch with the squad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll be in touch with the crew too.
Yes.
And we'll be back then in early January.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, you ready to start the show? Let's start as we always do. You know how we start.
Got to say what's up to the squad.
That's right. See who's watching.
Yep.
Marge Higgs, squad up. How are you? Doreen Dappa saying squad up, everybody. Rog J. Roberts with the double peace sign. Double peace sign.
Okay.
Gowie Maxine. By the way, for him, extraordinarily positive gesture. So, yeah,
right.
Extraordinarily positive gesture. Surprise for Rog J. Roberts. Gowie Maxine, squad up. Dion Reed, Jessica Leamy saying squad up. Ma Duke, Cece Mitchell, squad up. Latoya, his Forever Peterson, still together forever. And Deborah South, squad up. How are you? Jewel Delph, Carol Anderson, the Tiger, saying squad up. How are you? And Cece Mitchell, what date in January so I can put it on my calendar? Jonathan, it'll be the Monday after the Tuesday, January 4th.
Okay.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you very much, Jill. I'm like, Tuesday, January 4th. And that is when it will be. We will be back live on Tuesday, January 4th. It's Apple Pie Squad Up. How are you? And on YouTube, Shin Smith saying, hey, Brad Squad Dembasau. She's double fisting. Susie Q Mac, Squad Up, Earth Angel Pert, KS, with a pre-schmooze question of the day.
All right.
We always get the pre-schmooze question on YouTube.
Yeah.
Never see a pre-schmooze question on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. The pre-schmooze question on YouTube If Plan C passes the Senate, can a person on parole join the military? My guess is no, because they're not allowing DACA recipients to join the military as far as I'm aware. The rules for the military, I'm no military expert. I've never personally tried to join the military, but from what I understand, you have to be a lawful resident or a U.S. citizen to join the military. So they're not most likely, unless they change their rules, will not accept you. Claudette Crow saying hello to everybody. Lilit Katchatryan saying hi, Brad. How are you? Joan Wallace, squad up. How are you? Sebastian Sibaraj with another Schmooze question. Why not, Yo-Yo?
You gonna give it to
It's the
them?
holiday season.
Okay.
It's the season to give. So let me give them an answer.
Okay.
I don't know what the question is yet. Mr. Brett, a U.S. attorney filed my friend's I-360 and G-28 last week. She lives in another country. Will she or her attorney get prima facie notification like a domestic applicant? Unlikely, because you can't collect U.S. government benefits in another country. You would only be able to collect it here. So it is extraordinarily unlikely. I've never actually had that question before, but I would say that I would be shocked out of my socks if she gets a prima facie. I don't know for a fact that she won't, but just logically speaking, how could you collect government benefits if you're in another country? So my answer is extraordinarily unlikely.
Okay.
But I don't know the answer for a fact, because I've never been actually asked that. But I've never seen it happen.
Okay.
All right, Yo-Yo, take it away.
All right, squad, you already know what time it is. It is time to share. We got to share and let everybody know this is our last week of the year, all right? Because we're going to start schmoozing with Brad, talking headlines, including the news that New York City has become the largest city in the country to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. And like we said earlier, it is Monday, so we'll be talking fuzzy stories about our furry friends to start off our week with a smile, including a cub's reaction after encountering Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
And of course, there we go. I'm a little fast there.
Yeah.
And of course, you could always call Spar and Bernstein. The telephone number is scrolling at the bottom, 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LawLink. Spar and Bernstein is the sponsor of the show. I am the president of Spar and Bernstein, and you can always call that number. We always get somebody who always asks in the comments, say, hey, Brad, how can I reach you? And my answer to you will always be the number scrolling at the bottom for the entire show. It is also the telephone number to call to get on our show right now. So if you call, hint, hint, you will get to speak to me at this very moment, because we do have open lines generally 99.99% of the time. By the time I am done with our schmooze, the lines are locked and loaded, and you cannot get to speak to me because we can only take so many calls in a show. But right now, wink, wink, if you're watching and you have a question, this is our last week on the air for the year.
Better call in.
Call in, 1-800-529-5465. And later in the show, we are going to hear the second part of my discussion with Steven Garza. He is the breakout star of Apple Plus's 2021 Emmy-winning documentary, Boys State. We played the first part last week. All right, you ready to do some schmoozing? Let's see what's going on in the world. Yo-Yo.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. So in a very controversial move, Jonathan, it's controversial for sure. New York City became the largest city in the United States of America to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. The city council overwhelmingly approved the legislation. It's going to grant 800,000 legal residents the right to vote in local elections. And I say that emphatically, local elections. The move places New York City at the forefront of the debate over voting rights. The legislation was approved over the objections of Mayor Bill de Blasio, who, by the way, is considered one of the most progressive and liberal mayors of any big city in New York, any big city in the United States of America. And he was
And
against
he even
it.
was against
He
it.
was against
Wow.
it. And he also questioned whether or not the city council had the power to grant voting rights to non-citizens. Non-citizens are going to be able to register to vote beginning January 9th, 2023. I am sure that there will be some sort of lawsuit that makes it through the courts. So whether or not that will be the date in which non-citizens will be able to vote, or whether there will be courts that try to limit or prohibit the voting pending final outcome of court proceedings, we'll see. If history is a guide, I would say January 9th, 2023 will not be the day, although that's the date in the legislation, because my guess is that there will be a lot of litigation over this. Now, Councilman, I hope I get her name right, Idanis Rodriguez, the bill's primary sponsor, said the law is going to give more people who live in New York City and pay taxes there a say in how the city is run. And by the way, yeah, if you're paying taxes, I mean, there's pros and cons.
Right.
If you're paying taxes, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you have a right to know where your taxes are going, how your taxes are being paid, and what your taxes will be? Makes sense. Makes sense, right? He said that people who are looking to get elected to office will now have to spend the same amount of time in the communities affected by this legislation as they do in upper class neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Now, the con to this, because there's always, both sides.
I was going to ask you, like, what would you say?
I would say a couple things. Number one, it's going to confuse a lot of people, because even though you are eligible to vote in local elections, you're not eligible to vote in any federal elections. And if you vote in a federal election, then you could have your visas taken away. You could be charged with a crime. You could lose the opportunity to become a United States citizen. You could, if you are charged with a crime of making false claims in a federal election, of perhaps even being put in deportation. And for a new immigrant to come to the United States of America, to know the difference between a local election and a federal election, there is going to be enormous confusion.
Oh, wow.
Okay, number two, I'll tell you another con. Okay, as a lifelong New Yorker, been here for 53 years old, I would believe that I understand, because I've been here for a period of time, understand what's going on in the politics of the local city, what the problems are, what needs to be fixed, what doesn't. Okay. Now, somebody who comes from another country, who's never participated in a United States election, who may have just gotten a green card, doesn't understand what's going on, all of a sudden now has a same right, which I think is a nice thing, except are they prepared to vote? Or do they understand everything that they're, or are they going to be completely manipulated by politicians? Number three,
that's a really good one.
Number three, because they don't, especially if you come from a country where there's never an election before. There's a lot of countries in the world where there's no elections whatsoever. And then I'll say number three, this also legislation not only gives the right to vote to lawful permanent residents, but people who are here on temporary work visas. So when you're here on a temporary work visa, it's temporary, which means that you're not going to be here for a very long time. So somebody may come here on a J visa, which is only for 1 year. Somebody may come here on an O visa or an E visa.
And you'll be voting
and
for
you're
something
voting for something that's going to be years and years, that's going to affect those who are here forever. And you're and affect me as somebody who's not leaving the United States versus on issues that are not going to affect you. You may vote for a mayor for 4 years and you're only here for a year.
These cons are pretty
it's
deep.
So, and in addition to that, what does the Constitution of the United States say? Who has a right to vote, who doesn't have a right to vote? Now, obviously in the Constitution, those who have a right to vote are U.S. citizens. Does the U.S. Constitution, certainly in a federal election, it's an open and shut case. You're not a U.S. citizen. You can't vote because that's what the Constitution says. Okay? But does it also apply to state and local elections? In this particular case, it's not even a state election. It's a local election. So there's going to be a lot of litigation over this. From 500,000 feet, big picture, you say, yeah, makes sense. If you're living here, why wouldn't you have a right to vote? Why are you told how much taxes to pay without you having a say in it? Why don't you have a right to know how many days the garbage is going to be collected? Why don't you have a right to know or have a say in how you're going to be policed? So, it goes both ways. And I'll be honest with you. I haven't fully formed my...
I was going to ask...
I have not fully formed my decision yet which way, if I was a judge, usually when I see it, I say, oh, it's open and shut case. This is how I would.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would. And I don't know how the judges are going to rule, but what I say to myself, how do I feel about this? I go back and forth both ways.
Yeah.
And by the way, in my cards, which I didn't even see here, other opponents of the bill say it's going to take power away from citizens and it's going to discourage legal residents from applying for citizenship because they're going to say, why do I need to become a citizen?
Yeah, because now
I can vote anyway.
Yeah.
Now in Colorado, Florida, and Alabama, 3 more Trumpy states. We call them Trumpy states. Pumpkin states.
Yes.
And some of the more pumpkin-y states. Voters approved ballot measures last year that stipulated only U.S. citizens can vote. And in North Dakota and Arizona, already formally bar non-citizens from voting. And by the way, Arizona is more Democratic than Republican at this point in time.
Yeah.
But that's
like Mark Higgs says, it's a tough decision.
It's a very tough decision because you can see from both sides.
Yeah.
I can see from both sides. But
yikes.
I'll tell you what also, when you see things like this, it just plays into the Republicans' hands.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It just totally plays into the Republicans' hands because the Republicans, and I've said this time and time again, and I'm going to keep saying it all the way until the midterm elections. If people are voting based on their pocketbook, 95% or more of Americans, unless you're in the top 1% of earners, which I guess then would be 99% of Americans then, if you really think about it. Okay?
Democrat.
If you're in the top 1% of earners in the United States of America, your economic interest is to vote for Republicans. If you are not in the top 1% of earners in the United States of America, it is not in your economic interest to vote for Republicans. It's in your economic interest to vote for Democrats. So then how in the world, when you say, well, if it's in your economic interest to vote for Democrats, the Democrats should be getting 90%, 95%, 98% of the electorate.
Right.
How are the Democrats losing time and time again? And it's because, in my opinion, they are jumping ahead of what people feel comfortable doing from a social standpoint. So whether it's changing school curriculum or any extraordinarily progressive measures that people get scared. People don't like change.
Right.
And if the Democrats were able to slowly change instead of total U-turn change, I think they would win every election. But they want to make change immediate,
right,
instead of slowly over time. But that's my opinion.
I agree.
All right. By the way, the Biden administration has begun issuing denials to Afghans seeking to immigrate to the United States. We've been talking about that. Okay, here's a perfect example of jumping ahead of the curve. Because here's a situation where Biden said we're going to make sure that every Afghan gets out of Afghanistan who is in danger, who helped us. And then there was a huge backlash of many Americans. What are you going to have? 100,000, 150,000 Afghans come into the United States on all of these humanitarian paroles. Meanwhile, perhaps my family member has been waiting for 5-10 years. Right. I mean, there's a lot of first-time Americans who have filed brothers and sister cases for their brothers and sisters 10-15 years, let alone all of the Americans who've been here for generation after generation, many in the pumpkin states saying, why do we want more immigrants?
Right.
So it's a huge backlash against Biden. Again, people going against Biden not for their economic interests, but because of too much change too quickly.
Yeah.
And as a result, Biden has done a U-turn on this as well. Immigration lawyers and advocacy groups, they say the government has now set insurmountable barriers to getting parole applications approved. In my particular office, I haven't seen a parole application approved yet.
Oh, really?
I haven't seen one. We filed a bunch. We're still waiting. I haven't heard one way or the other. But according to news reports, denial letters are starting to come in, and they're requesting such onerous documentation that almost it's getting to the point where it would be virtually impossible to get an Afghan in who may be in danger in Afghanistan because either that particular person assisted the United States of America while the U.S. was there, or their family member assisted, and now they're in hiding because of what their family members did. Immigration lawyers, advocacy groups say that the standard to get the parole applications approved is insurmountable. Jill Marie Busia, director of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services, told Axios that a 2017 USCIS training manual explicitly provides instruction that they may grant parole to individuals who are facing fear of harm. All right. However, that could be many people in the country. And can you imagine a midterm election where there's hundreds of thousands of Afghans being allowed into the United States? It's very political.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sadly for the Afghans, nobody cares about them. Because Biden's trying to save his own hide, and he's imagining what the world in the United States would look like in terms of an election in 2022 with, this happening. Not only Afghans coming in, but Afghans jumping the line of others who've been waiting.
Yeah.
There's 75,000 Afghans who are considered vulnerable, who potentially or have already filed for these parole applications. And roughly an additional 35,000 evacuees are waiting at military bases in the United States to resettle either in the United States or in another country.
It's a lot.
Yes. On Tuesday, the Senate approved the first openly homosexual head of Customs and Border Protection. So what do you think of? Do you think that's going to make a difference because he's openly homosexual? Is that going to make a difference in terms of enforcement for Customs and Border Patrol? His name is Chris Magnus.
I don't think so.
He's the police chief in Tucson, Arizona. He is set to become the first openly gay commissioner of the federal government's largest law enforcement agency.
That's good.
He's known as a reform-minded police chief. We just talked about Yo-Yo, what was it, a week or two ago? I don't remember which episode, but it was at least a week or two ago. It was on Monday. It was a week ago. Where there was an internal report from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection that showed throughout 2020 that less than 2% of people who were accused of wrongdoing, CBP officers, had anything happen to them.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I wonder if this makes a difference, or if it's such a large federal law enforcement agency that one man's never going to make a difference.
Oh, that's what you meant, like that.
It's like one man going to make a difference? I don't know.
See. Well, hopefully.
But at least
do something.
He got appointed by the Senate. He passed. So we'll see what happens there in CBP. And then on Friday was terrible. Did you see what happened in the Midwest, in Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Mississippi? Towns were devastated from over, I don't know, probably over 100 tornadoes that were hit in the Midwest. It was so catastrophic, officials still don't even know how bad it is.
It's crazy.
Governor Andy Bashar, who of Kentucky, said Kentucky was hit at least by 4 tornadoes. One stayed on the ground for 200 miles, devastating anything in its path. I mean, look at it. It looks like a nuclear bomb went off. Like a nuclear bomb went off.
It was 50
more
tornadoes.
Than 50 tornadoes reported in 7 states over the weekend. That's what it was. 64 people were killed, and 100. This is only in Kentucky, and 105 remain unaccounted for. Thousands of homes are destroyed, and it's going to be weeks and weeks before that number is going to climb.
It's going to climb.
Did you see those pictures? How does anybody survive that?
Right.
And there's nowhere, and a tornado comes, there's nowhere to run.
And then during the holidays, it's like,
where would you run if a tornado's coming? There's nowhere to go. You got to run into a basement.
Like a basement.
Right. But if you're not in a basement or you're not near a basement, what are you going to do? I mean, the tornado, there were pictures, would pick up 18-wheel, those big 18-wheelers and just toss them around like it was like a feather. The American Red Cross has 8 shelters set up in Kentucky. The governor of Kentucky said that they've put a fund together, and the priority is to provide $5,000 for burial expenses to families who lost loved ones.
That's so sad.
Tens of thousands of people are without power. It's going to be a while. As of Friday, 5 EF3 tornadoes. I guess that's strong. I don't know how they measure tornadoes, but I guess EF3s are pretty strong ones. They were identified in Defiance, Missouri, Edwardsville, Illinois, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Saloma, Kentucky, and Oswatha, Kentucky, between Case and Beaver Creek. In Arkansas, the storm struck a Dollar General store. In Leachville, killed the assistant manager. In nearby Monette, at least one person was killed at a nursing home damaged by a tornado. And then you saw the Amazon warehouse collapsed in Edwardsville, Illinois, and 6 people died in that building collapse. An Amazon representative said a tornado warning siren sounded 11 minutes before the storm's arrival. But if you're in an Amazon warehouse, what are you supposed to do?
Right, that big warehouse.
Where are you supposed to go? Meanwhile, forecasters are keeping an eye on the possibility of more severe weather coming up.
Oh, I'll be ready to hit it. I'm out.
And Deanne Criswell, the head of FEMA, said on the State of the Union Sunday, this is going to be our new normal. The effects that we're seeing from climate change are the crisis of our generation. I think tornadoes are going to be the new normal. I think severe weather's, it's severe weather. It's not just tornadoes. It's going to be storms. You're going to see hail in the summer. You're going to see huge rainstorms in the winter, snowstorms, hurricanes, everything. It's going to be our new normal. More and more and more severe weather. And more severe weather will only cause more and more people to not be able to live in certain areas, which is going to cause more and more and more undocumented and illegal migration.
Yeah, oof.
On Friday, the Supreme Court is leaving in place the Texas abortion law that bars the procedure after 6 weeks of pregnancy. And the justices said that the abortion providers could sue people in local court, but they're not going to overturn the law. Justice Sotomayor dissented, writing for her liberal colleagues, said the court should have gone much further, blocked the law from going into effect when it had the chance back in September. She said the court should have put an end to this madness months ago, before SB 8 even went into effect. She claimed that the Supreme Court, by the limits it put on who can be sued in court, effectively invited other states to use the law as a model to nullify federal rights, which is basically you can't get an abortion now because what doctor, unless they are completely funded by some sort of political action group, is going to risk doing an abortion procedure, getting sued, and then countersuing because the law is illegal.
Right.
That's what the Supreme Court said, we're not going to decide whether the law is illegal or not. If you get sued, you can countersue and you can defend yourself and say it's an illegal law and let the lower courts decide. Who's going to go through that litigation?
Yeah.
that cost
Right.
the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to make it back to the
Nobody.
Supreme Court. Nobody's going to do it unless they're being funded by a political action group
Right.
to make a political point. And there's going to be a lawsuit, and eventually it's going to make it up to the Supreme Court. But you want to know when it'll make it to the Supreme Court? 4, 5, 6 years from now. By the time it makes it through the regular processing of you're sued in a trial court. The trial case has to go. Then you go into federal district court. Then you go into the Court of Appeals. Then you go into the Supreme Court. Yeah, this is years and years and years. Meanwhile, nobody's going to get an abortion. It won't be illegal in Texas. Nobody's going to do it.
Right.
So basically what the Supreme Court did was leave the law in place, and they said, you know what? If you get sued, doctor, you can argue that it's an illegal law, and we'll take it up once your case gets to the Supreme Court again, which will be in 5 or 6 years from now.
All right.
So you know what the governor of California has done?
What?
On Saturday, California Governor Gavin Newsom said, "Two can play at that game." He is outraged at what the Supreme Court did with the Texas abortion law. So now he is inviting the California legislature to make a new law about guns.
Ooh.
And that if a gun is used in a crime, or a gun is used in a shooting in California, or a gun is sold in California that is used in a crime, then anyone could now go sue the gun manufacturer and literally put all the gun manufacturers out of business.
Good.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So he said, in light of the Supreme Court's decision, he has directed his staff to draft a bill that would allow private citizens to seek relief, quote, against anyone who manufactures, distributes, or sells an assault weapon or ghost gun kit in the state of California. And they would put the statutory damages of at least $10,000 in addition to attorney's fees. And it'll basically bankrupt if every person sues
Right.
the gun manufacturers, because there's more guns in California than there are people. So you could sue for every particular gun.
I'm here for that. I am here for that.
And we're almost at 800,000 coronavirus deaths, Yo-Yo. And I read a very chilling statistic today. 1 out of every 100 people living in the United States of America since COVID was listed as a pandemic in March of 2020. So we're not even 2 years into our pandemic. 1 out of 100 people over the age of 65 are dead
What?
as a result of COVID.
Jeez.
1 out of every 100 people over the age of 65.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, 65 is not...
That's not old.
It's not old. You're 65 years old. You got another 20, 30, 40 years ahead of you. And that was a very chilling statistic.
man.
If you are under 65, it's 1 out of every 1,500 people under 65. But it's 1 out of every 100 people over 65. This is a pandemic that is killing elderly people at an enormously speedy rate. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky also said that the Omicron variant has infected mostly 80% of people who are vaccinated. However, of the people who are vaccinated, they've only gotten a mild case of coronavirus, so that the vaccines to this point are protecting those people who are fully vaccinated from the Omicron virus. 1 person died of the Omicron variant in the United Kingdom. They confirmed it. We don't know whether or not that person was actually vaccinated. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said Sunday he was opening booster shots to all adults. So in the UK, everyone over the age of 18, I believe, is now required to get a 3rd dose of the vaccine.
Oh, wow.
And in New York State, by the way, in New York State, there was a mandatory vaccination of all medical personnel, doctors, nurses, anyone working in a hospital or nursing home. That case was brought up to the Supreme Court The Supreme Court ruled about 2 hours before we came on the air that
wow.
New York State can mandate that all health professionals be vaccinated, and New York State's mandate does not have a religious exemption to it.
Ooh.
So it was brought by Catholics, people who are devoutly Catholic, saying that part of the vaccine was, in terms of the scientific experimentation, they used aborted fetuses. So they don't want to be part of any of that.
Right.
But in the Supreme Court decision, they said that even Pope Francis said it's okay to be vaccinated.
Okay.
So the Supreme Court found in favor of New York State, and as of now, every health professional in New York State must be vaccinated, or they're going to lose their job.
There's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be happy about that.
A lot of people are not going to be happy about that.
Yeah.
And that's our schmooze, but we still have some fuzzy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We have some fuzzy things. Ian, anything fuzzy today? Perhaps we have some fuzzy stuff. There we go. Yeah, it's fuzzy Monday, All right, so in Saudi Arabia, they have a camel beauty contest.
Yeah.
I never knew camels were actually. Have you ever met a beautiful camel, Jonathan? In all your life?
Camels are not
I don't.
beautiful
They're not.
to me.
To me, they're not beautiful animals, but to some people, they are.
Camel as a whole
Could
is
be
beautiful, like
be
with the silhouette and like the,
maybe it's maybe more majestic.
Yeah.
But beautiful? No. Horses, dogs.
Horses, yes, dogs.
I'm not sure
Look
about
at that.
camels.
Look at their teeth. Ooh.
Oh, Jill's yelling at me. They're adorable. Okay, they could be adorable. They could be majestic.
I like their eyes. They have like beautiful eyelashes and.
I don't know. I don't know. But apparently, some people think they are. And in Saudi Arabia, they have a beauty contest for camels. But now they're cracking down on the beauty contest in Saudi Arabia. 43 of the camels in the 40-day King Abdulaziz Camel Festival, which is located 62 miles northeast of Riyadh. There is a beauty pageant where the breeders compete for more than $66 million.
A lot.
So that is a lot of money for a pretty camel. So you know what these breeders are doing is they're injecting the camels with Botox. So they get rid of all the wrinkles.
Right.
You know, make the camels even cuter than they are.
I didn't even know animals got Botox.
Yeah, the animals get 43 camels have now been disqualified from the King Abdulaziz Camel Festival for illegal Botox injections. They actually had 147. They had 147 cases of tampering, and the Botox or the hormones can be as much as $27,000 per camel.
What?
That's more than any woman's ever spent on Botox. We would have to spend a lot of money on Botox. I think Botox, even like the most expensive doctors here in New York, a couple $1,000 a treatment. You know,
But
when you go to the most expensive ones.
They're also
and then you go every couple months.
Yeah.
But $27,000.
I mean, it's a lot more.
That's more than any person.
A lot more skin that you probably have to.
Maybe I think that's probably why.
Shoot. And if you're competing for $66 million, $27,000 ain't nothing.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now, camels are big business in Saudi Arabia, just for FYI. An estimated 1.5 million of the animals are protected by their owners using microchips. Oh. Camels are an important part of Saudi culture, and the animals are well adapted to life in deserts such as the Arabian Desert, large parts of which lie within Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
You ever ride a camel?
No,
I want to. I've ridden a camel.
Where?
In the Middle East.
Okay.
I rode a camel in Israel. I rode a camel in Dubai. Where else have I ridden a camel? That's probably the only two places. Oh, and I rode a camel at the Bronx Zoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have camel rides at the Bronx Zoo too. Yeah, so if you want to go ride a camel, go to the Bronx Zoo. I did that too.
I'd rather do it like in the Middle East or in Egypt or something.
And I rode a camel in Morocco too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've ridden camels. And every Wednesday we see our camels, right? Yeah, it's fun. You know, it goes up and down, so you got to hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, did you ever hear of a grumpy cat? You might know it from the look on Mackenzie's face. You've heard of grumpy cats before.
Yes.
Okay, but this is a different grumpy cat.
Okay.
When a 15-year-old cat, this 15-year-old grumpy cat met Santa, it was one of the best days of this grumpy cat's life. Angela Rouse, and the grumpy cat's name is Mackenzie, told the Dodo newspaper, or Dodo website, she was resting on Grumpy Face, and now she is the happiest cat in the world, and she just has this grumpy look on her face, except when she met Santa. Mackenzie originally belonged to Rouse's grandparents, but when Rouse's grandfather passed in 2019, the cat had nowhere to go, so Rouse took Mackenzie into their home. But Rouse said it was one of the grumpiest cats she's ever seen. Let's see the picture of the cat looking at Santa. We have a picture of Grumpy Cat and then Happy Cat. Let's see. Maybe you showed it already. I didn't see it. That is
definitely a grumpy face.
That is a happy face, no?
That's the happy face?
What is that? I can't see. That's a happy face or a grumpy face?
When it looks at Santa, maybe it's like happy, but like when it wasn't.
Oh, look, yeah, that's a grumpy face.
Yeah, can you zoom in when Santa's holding the cat? You can see it's definitely grumpy.
Yeah. Now, every Saturday leading up to Christmas,
look how grumpy.
Mackenzie, 1 second. What is this every Saturday leading up to Christmas? The Pet Value Store in Nova Scotia, Canada hosts a fundraiser for their local food bank. Pets meet and take pictures with Santa. Oh, that's where Mackenzie saw Santa, at the local pet store. Got it. All right. And by the way, Yo-Yo, 9 in 10 people overeat on the holidays. You know that, right? But 7 in 10 people admit that their dog also overeats during the holidays.
Of course.
Yes. In a poll of 2002 American dog owners, more than 7 in 10 dog owners admit their pup gets more table scraps during the holidays than any other time. You know,
listen, it's presents for all of us.
In January, not only do I have to lose weight, but my dogs have to cut back too. Right. It's not Christmas every day, right?
No.
It's not Christmas every day.
I find joy in giving my dog like holiday scraps.
Yes.
You know, because like I'm enjoying the food, they're enjoying it.
They love it. Yeah. Now, 78% of non-respondents strictly monitor what their dogs eat to maintain their health, but nearly 2/3, 64%, deviate from their dog's typical diet during the holidays. You think the squad gives a little more extra to the doggies and cats?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I do believe that more women probably do, because my mom is horrible with giving our dog scraps, and like we're like, Mom, no more.
Well, especially if you're cooking in the kitchen. Not that it's women cooking, but it's men too.
Right.
But if you're cooking in the kitchen, the dog is sitting there looking at you with like those puppy eyes,
Those puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, of course you're going to, right? And by the way, in fact, Yo-Yo, 29% point the finger at their mom as the most likely culprit to feed their dog under the table during dinner. Yo-Yo is correct.
What you guys didn't know is I'm part of that study.
Yeah.
I put my mother, Elsie Elias, up on that.
And finally, a bear cub was spotted attacking a reindeer in California. The only problem with this reindeer, it was an inflatable reindeer.
Uh-oh.
Yes, neighbor Donna Haggett of Monrovia shot video of her amusing scene on Wednesday showing the bear cub grappling with the large inflatable Rudolph the reindeer. I looked up and there it was jumping on my reindeer. I was laughing to myself out on the street. Video shows the young bear cub wrestling with the inflatable invade as a larger bear believed it to be its mother. Looks on very calmly. Yeah. Go get him! Go get him, Junior! Go get him, Junior! And that is our fuzzy Monday of the day. And we got to jump to TikTok.
Yes.
By the way, I just checked. I asked I asked Maria Isabella to check what is our biggest viral video on TikTok. We had 800. It was a viral video we did on TikTok 2 weeks ago with over 830,000 views. We're almost at 1 million views on that one
viral.
TikTok. Right. I would say that's viral at that point,
I think
right?
that is very much
When
so
does it
viral.
become viral? At what number?
That's viral.
That's viral.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. So in this edition of TikTok Time, I answer questions about traveling on a student visa, what to do if you have DACA and get arrested, long interview wait times, marriage. This is all on TikTok at Brad Show Live. Let's watch. Anyone in the United States can give you financial support in an affidavit of support and pay for your college or university, including your uncle. What you need to do is get accepted to a university and prove at the U.S. Embassy that your uncle, whoever's giving you the affidavit of support, is able to pay your tuition, your room, your board, without you taking a job. And then you also have to prove that you intend to leave at the end of your studies. So your uncle, whoever is giving the financial support, is just a small part of a much bigger picture. Good luck. Amnesty is that if you meet certain requirements, you get to live in the United States as a lawful permanent resident for the rest of your life. What has passed the House of Representatives is parole status, something less than lawful permanent residence. Parole status allows you to remain lawfully in the United States for 5 years and extended for an additional 5 years, but it is not lawful permanent resident status, which would be for life. The idea is hopefully that a future Congress would not revoke the parole status after 10 years and extend it or perhaps turn it into an amnesty in the future. That's the difference. All right, we ran a different TikTok time, but still good information nevertheless. We'll give today's information tomorrow. How's that? All right, you ready for some meat and potatoes?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. There we go. Len from the Bronx, how are you?
Hi, good night. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. What's going on? How can I help?
I'm calling on behalf of my cousin. She recently got a P3 work permit visa, and she came into the U.S. She has a daughter in Jamaica, so she's kind of wondering if there's like a specific visa. I think it's called a P2 visa or something in like relation that her daughter can get.
P4.
So she can P4.
Yeah, so she can. The P1 is for a entertainment group of recognition. The P2 is for the people who come to assist the group. The P3 is a group who may not have as much recognition as a P1, but has some cultural uniqueness. And P4 would be the derivative children or spouses of the P3 work visa. So you would have to apply at the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica for that P4 for the child.
Okay, so I kind of have a follow-up question. The U.S. Embassy in Jamaica says that like visitors' visas appointments isn't until like 2022 because they're backlogged.
Right, but this is not for a visitor's visa. This is for a P4.
Okay, so it's different. We should still try to apply for her.
Yes.
Okay, then.
All right. If you run into a problem, call us off the air, and we'll see how we can help.
Okay, if we land on a problem, call you, and you guys will help us out. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, good luck. All right, let's go to Kendi in the Bronx.
Hi, Sancho. Good
How are you, Kendi?
Good, long time.
Okay, what can I do to help you?
First of all, I want to appreciate you for the good job.
Thank
I
you
really
very much.
appreciate for a wonderful job you have done in my life.
Oh, wow, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a 4 question. I don't mind if you can allow me within 10 seconds. Actually, I got my green card through marriage, IR6. So my marriage is 3 years now. Is it possible for me to file for my citizen?
You got your green card. When did you get your green card?
Actually, I got it by April this year,
Okay.
which my marriage was 3 years.
Okay, so you've been married for 3 years. You just got just got your green card in April of 2021. I assume you got your 10-year green card. You do your citizenship not based on the years of marriage. You do it based on the years of marriage in which you were a lawful permanent resident. So you have not been a lawful permanent resident even for a year yet. It's only about 9-10 months. So assuming you remain in a bona fide marriage with your U.S. citizen spouse, you would be able to file 90 days before the 3-year anniversary of you obtaining your green card in April 2021. So 3 years would be April 2024, January to February, February to March, March to April. So figure February 1st, 2024, you would be able to file your citizenship provided you are in a bona fide, remain in a bona fide marriage with your spouse. The way that the years of marriage goes into immigration is if you are married for more than 2 years when you obtain your green card, then you get a 10-year green card. If you are married less than 2 years when you get your green card, then you get a 2-year. So because you were married more than 2 years, you got your 10, you don't have to go back and remove the conditions, but you still have to wait the 3 years of having a green card to become a citizen.
Okay. Can I file for my kid?
Yes.
From Africa?
Right now, yes.
Okay. What about my mom?
No, not until you're a citizen.
Okay. So I have a friend that is going through domestic violence. So can this person make a vow?
You have a friend who wants to what? Say again?
He has a 2 years green card, but he's going through domestic with his spouse.
Okay, so if he has a 2-year green card, you can either file to remove the conditions based on abuse. You wouldn't do a new VAWA case, you would do it based on abuse. Or what I like to generally recommend is get a divorce. There's no reason to stay married in an unhappy, abusive relationship, and just prove you're divorced and it was a real marriage. It's a much easier case.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Michael in Queens. Michael. Michael,
Hello?
how are you? How you doing?
I'm good. What happened? I'm a 2-year married green card holder. I just applied for my 10-year green card. They send back the receipt notice. They send back a letter stating that they're gonna use my old biometrics from when I had applied for my 2-year green card. But directly the day after I received that letter, I was arrested for petty larceny.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if that will, like...
It depends. An arrest, to remove the conditions, an arrest doesn't matter. However, if you are convicted of something, that could be problematic, depending on what you're convicted of. So, what it comes down to is not what you're arrested for, it's what you're convicted of. So we don't know we don't know what's going to happen with your criminal case yet, do we?
No, what they're saying that the case is, I have to go to court on the 30th.
Right.
Right? But I had planned to travel on the 22nd to go to my country where I'm from, and I'll be coming back on the 27th. Will they, stop me at the airport or anything like that?
You don't have a conviction yet, so they can't, hold you or find you inadmissible, but, they can question you and give you a problem for sure. The other thing you have to worry about, with traveling with such a short time frame before your criminal case is 2 things. One, the rules change all the time. So, airplanes don't travel as frequently as they do now because of COVID. And of course, there's weather issues as well. So if you don't get on a plane and don't come back because of rule changes or because of COVID, because God forbid you catch COVID in your home country, you're missing your criminal case on the 30th. And now you have a huge problem. Or what happens if the plane doesn't take off? Because, there's all sorts of issues these days. Unless you have an enormous emergency, all right? Because then I'll tell you what would happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? You catch COVID in your home country, you're not allowed back on an airplane. You miss your criminal case. Now you recover, you get on a plane, you come into the airport, there's a warrant out for your arrest, there's nothing anyone can do to stop that, and you're getting arrested at the airport, or you're never coming back to America. So unless this is the greatest emergency of all time, I would tell you to wait right here and go to your court case. And quite frankly, if that's your punishment of not being able to travel, you got off easy.
Okay, so like this arrest won't like mess anything up.
I just told you it's not what you were arrested for, it's what you're found guilty of. I don't know what you're going to be found guilty of.
I got you.
I have no idea. This will be your first court case.
Correct.
But you've got to be, unless it's an emergency, do or die. I mean, you got to be pretty foolish to travel 3 days before your criminal case if you want to make America your home. Because there's so many things that could happen that you may not make it back for your court case.
That's true. And secondly, what I wanted to find out, should I like hire a lawyer to go to court with me on that day?
Yes. It's your life.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, good luck.
Yeah, you thanks.
All right. Let's go to Omar in the Bronx. Omar.
Yeah. Hello?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I have a court case pending. I want to fly to Jamaica this December 16.
It's the same question as the other person.
Yeah.
Were you listening?
I come in back. My case is like the 18th of January, but I come back on the 3rd.
Again, I'll repeat myself. So much could happen. What happens if you catch COVID?
Well, if I catch it, but like...
What happens if you catch COVID when you're in another country? And you need to be back for your court case on the 18th. And if
I ever catch COVID, then there's going to be 14 days, so I'm going to come back for it.
Then go enjoy your trip. I gave you my advice.
Okay.
Okay, go enjoy your trip. All right, you gotta be a fool. Go enjoy. Mercy in Newark, Delaware.
Hi, Brad.
How are you?
Evening. Good. Thank you for everything that you do.
My pleasure.
I have 3 questions, and my first question has to do with my I-140 NIW. I actually filed that in January 2021 concurrently with 765. And
what is your national interest?
My national interest?
Yeah.
Advanced degree.
What else?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, so you said you did a job sponsorship with a national interest waiver.
Yeah.
So when you do a national interest waiver, what you're saying to the government is, my work is in the national interest of working in the United States, so I should not have to test the labor market and prove I'm not taking a job away from an American worker. So my question to you is, what is your work that's in the national interest?
Oh, okay. I have a PhD in geology, and I actually work with carbon sequestration, as well as I'm a teacher. So I teach physics and geology at the same time.
Why is that in the national interest?
Now, the reason why it's national interest, one, we're talking about climate change, and I work in the area of climate change, where we're actually helping with the carbon capture and sequestration processes, and then also in the area of teaching right now.
Well,
so
there's
a lot of
teaching about climate change or teaching high school is not the national interest. That's for sure.
No, it's a university.
Even in university, it's probably not in the national interest.
Okay,
but it depends what your critical role is in this larger organization that is working in the national interest for the United States in climate control. I don't know, but maybe. Anyways, what's your question?
All right. So I actually filed, like I said, for I-140, 765,
Right.
and 485 concurrently. So I had an EAD card that came, and then the EAD card expired, and I actually had the 180 days extension. Then I was actually working at the University of Delaware. I was hired as a new faculty, and I had to be put on like leave of absence for the past 3 months, as well as my husband is on termination now.
You should be getting a letter from the university saying that you have a leave of absence and you need your work permit immediately for the renewal.
I did. So I've had to expedite denied from USCIS, and then I was following your show. Your suggestion was just to mail this leave of absence and termination and everything to USCIS office. We've done that. We're still waiting. We have had no results yet.
I don't know. I can just tell you that the rules say, all right, the immigration came out with rules, and the rules say that if you're going to lose your job, they will expedite it. So if you're able to demonstrate that, they should expedite it.
Okay. And I have one more question. Can I file for an H-1B when I have I-140 NIW pending?
If you're still in non-immigrant legal status, yes, because an H-1B is a dual intent visa. And you may want to do that because I'm not 100% certain I'm sold on what your national interest is, what your work is in the national interest. So you may want to consider that.
All right. Because I was thinking that, if I file for an H-1B, then my 485 gets canceled.
No, it wouldn't be canceled because it's a dual intent visa.
I didn't hear you, please.
Say dual intent visa as long as you're in legal non-immigrant status right now.
Oh, okay, because the university has been trying to do that, and they told me that it's not possible.
Well, maybe you don't have a non-immigrant status right now, so you can't change it to anything.
Oh, okay.
All right, so maybe your non-immigrant visa, whatever it was on, is now expired. That's a different
situation. My OPT, that was the STEM OPT.
Okay, so then that's expired already. So you would have to leave the country and come back, and then you would have a problem. And then if you leave the country, your adjustment would be denied. So that's a different situation.
Okay, all right. I think those were my questions.
Okay.
So
all right, good luck. You may need a second person to look at all of this, honestly.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Maxine in Queens. Maxine.
Hi, Uncle Brad.
Hi, how are
you doing? I'm okay, thank you. I have a question. Someone, she wants to file for citizenship, right?
Right.
She did get a green card to her dad. She came here. But the problem is that she doesn't read and write well. She's from Jamaica. She has her house that she bought here. She's in a good job, but she doesn't read and write well. Is there a way around that? In the immigration, she's under 50 years old.
Well, if you want to file for your citizenship and you are less than 55 and you don't have a green card for more than 15 years, you have to be able to read, write, and speak English. There's no way around it unless you're going to go to a neurologist, work up a set of medical tests, and have a neurologist submit the medical tests for an exemption of your reading and writing requirement because you have a mental disability.
Okay. All right. I'll let her know. This is Gawi Maxine. Thanks for making a difference for me in 2021. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So, thank you. Take care.
Bye bye. All right. Let's go to Brian in Indianapolis. Brian.
Hello?
Brian, how are you?
Good. I was having a situation exactly March 11, 2019. The IRS, my case of VAWA was received. But since then, since March 2019 till now, I have not heard anything other than prima facie. But my I-765 has been renewed after then. But the last one I submitted, which was in July, I got a response just about 2 weeks after. Then I got a notice last 2 weeks that I need to do a new biometric, which I found to be unusual because.
Why did you find that do a new biometric unusual?
I believe with other people's experience, the biometric in the system has been used for the renewal of the.
Yeah, but sometimes
I-75.
it gets corrupted. I wouldn't look into it too broadly.
Oh.
Sometimes your biometric gets corrupted for whatever reason. They want another one, but I wouldn't look into it too broadly.
Okay. Then again, do you think my VAWA case is normal?
You have a prima facie.
Yes.
And
I'm
when did you
receiving
file?
every
When did you
6 months.
file? When did you file?
I filed in February. I received the first
February
one
of
by
what year? February of what year?
2019.
And this
received-
was an adjustment application?
No, VAWA.
Did you file an adjustment as well?
No, I had a pending adjustment
Okay,
because
fine.
I missed my.
All right, so if you filed the VAWA in February 2019, they're asking for a new biometric now. Is it normal? You're coming up on 3 years. They should be. They came. What probably happened is they came to your case and were ready to send an RFE and review your case.
Sorry,
Let me tell you what happened.
Let me say this: the biometric is for I-765.
Okay. Then is it normal at this point to? I think at 3 years it's not normal. So I think if by February 2022 you still don't have any response on your pending VAWA, that that you should be thinking about doing a mandamus or threatening a mandamus. I think 3 years is at that point longer than what you should wait. I think up to 3 years it's been normal these days. February 2022, I would be thinking of a mandamus. The fact that you have a prima facie would lead me to believe that at a bare minimum you provided enough evidence at a minimum level to show you were abused, to show you're a person of moral character, and to show you were in a bona fide marriage. So you would not have gotten a prima facie if you didn't at least do a basic application that was approvable. Whether or not you submitted enough evidence on all three of those items to get it approved, I don't know. I haven't seen your application. But the fact that you have a prima facie would lead me to believe that you have a decent to good case, or maybe even a great case. I don't know. But you don't have a bad case. I think after 3 years, you don't hear anything, I would be doing a mandamus.
A mandamus?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, good luck.
I'll get it just there.
All right. Let's go to Jeremiah in Charlottesville, Virginia. Jeremiah.
Hello, Brad. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, sir. My case is kind of complicated. I've been in this country for 31 years.
31?
31.
Okay.
I was paroled into the country around June of 1991.
Where are you from?
I'm from Liberia.
Okay. Did you apply for the Liberian adjustment?
No, I did not apply for it because I was seeking an asylum when Clinton passed that very particular bill. So they told me I couldn't apply. Then I got into some conflict in 1997, and they ordered me removed from the country. But they could not remove me because Liberia refused to issue them a travel document.
What was the criminal record, the conflict that you had?
Well, the criminal record was there was an immigration agent that always come to visit my house. He thought that my marriage wasn't illegal. I was sharing an apartment with a Navy officer, a friend of mine, who's a Jamaican. And there was a weapon found in the apartment. So he had federal grand jury to charge me with possession of firearm while being an illegal immigrant and also misuse of Social Security.
All right, this is what I would suggest. Two things.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, there is a new Liberian amnesty. The deadline, I think, is coming up in another week to file an adjustment based on the new Liberian amnesty. But for these criminal records, you're 100% eligible. Whether or not, I got to look at your criminal records to see, even if you were ordered deported, to see if you're eligible for the amnesty. But no, you're obviously not getting deported anyway, so it's worthwhile to file it and then fight it out. Only because I'm saying this, you only have 7 days left or something like that. It's like I think the 21st or 22nd is the deadline. So today's the 13th. So forever hold your peace. File it. Nothing bad will happen to you. You've already been ordered deported.
Yes. Currently, the case is open. My daughter filed an I-130
Not your
petition on my
daughter.
behalf.
There's a Liberian amnesty.
Okay.
Okay. You need help. Hold on one second. Let's go to O'Neill in Kingston, Jamaica.
Hello, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Good. What can I do to help you?
I have an immigration question. My wife in the U.S., she's a U.S. citizen. She filed for me about 8 months now. But I will be in the U.S. on an H-2B program. So if while I'm in the U.S. on an H-2B program and the I-130 approved, what
Is your
should I
wife a
do if I
resident or a
don't-
citizen?
Citizen.
Okay. You don't even have to wait for the I-130 to be approved. If you're on an H-2B program, which is a non-immigrant intent program, and you enter legally, and 90 days after being in the United States, with or without an approved I-130, your wife can file your adjustment.
So it'd be better to file the adjustment, right?
After you've been here for
While
90
I'm
days.
there. Okay.
All right?
So to file the adjustment,
you can.
Do I need to?
You need a lawyer. Hold on
I
one
need
second.
to do the.
You need a lawyer. Hold on one second, because you need a lawyer. You can't come with the intent of filing an adjustment, because now you're committing a misrepresentation. You need a lawyer. Hold on. Let's go to Kina in Hartford, Connecticut. Kina in Hartford, Connecticut. Kina in Hartford, Connecticut. What happened to Kina? There we go. Kina in Hartford, Connecticut. You got to press the button right. Kina.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's going on? How can I help you?
Okay. I have my green card for July. It's gonna be 3 years. Next year July is gonna be 3 years.
Right.
So I wonder if I can file for citizenship without my husband.
No, because if you're basing it on 3 years of having a green card in a bona fide marriage, you could only become a citizen being in a bona fide marriage. The fact you're saying without your husband means that you and your husband are not together anymore. So then you would have to wait the 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, let's go to Desmond in Atlanta. Desmond.
Oh, right. Oh, hi. Hi, Brad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do. What's going on?
Oh, great. Yeah, not too bad. I just want to thank you very much for obviously the show that you're doing. Very informative, as per usual. My question is resulting to if I wish to exercise my right of opting out of taking the COVID-19 vaccine, can I still file for an adjustment of status after getting married?
You are the one who's getting the green card.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you would have to request a religious exemption from it.
Okay, yeah, I'm not that familiar with the religious exemption.
I don't.
So
you would have to show that you are a practicing member of a religion that prevents you or bars you from taking this vaccine.
Okay.
Other than that, they are not going to adjust your status otherwise.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's just basically go down the religious route, basically, of getting that done.
Well, I mean, you can go down any route you want, but you better be able to prove it. And I would tell you that it is highly unlikely you would be able to prove it. I think in the end, quite frankly, almost everyone who's adjusting is going to have to take the COVID test. the COVID vaccine. I don't believe that they're going to exempt people.
Right. And obviously that's got nothing to do with mandating anybody. That's just a clear black and white law that states that obviously anybody applying for a green card now has to be vaccinated.
Well, the law is black and white. You have to be vaccinated. You can request a religious exemption. But, you can't just say, I'm a Christian, I'm against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to fly.
Okay.
I think the Supreme Court of the United States just said New York can mandate it.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, I don't believe, I haven't seen any waivers. I personally haven't seen waivers approved yet, but maybe there have been.
Right. Okay. All right. So it seems quite stringent, and obviously
that's what I would
seems
think.
that anybody that's here has to be vaccinated if they're going to obviously go apply for a green card.
Correct.
All right. Thanks ever so much, Brad.
Right. Let's go to Kenneth in Dallas. Hi, Kenneth.
Yeah. Brian, good evening.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Yeah, I just want to get this information from my sister. She got married 4 years ago. 2019, they went for an interview. They were denied. So they reapplied again.
Why were they denied?
Because of at the interview, they found out that the information they gave, they had a second interview. So
they didn't believe it was a bona fide marriage?
Yeah, sort of, because the husband was giving the husband is kind of old.
Okay, so then they refiled again, and what happened?
They refiled again, so they used the old biometric.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Last 2 months, they sent a letter that they need some information, like task transcript from the first person that sponsored them.
What is the question that you have for me?
She has submitted everything, and yet we have not heard from them. And the letter they sent with the ref, they said that you have to provide so things before they will make their final decision. I don't understand
what is your question, sir? The fact is, when will you hear from immigration? I have no idea.
Yes,
I don't even know. I don't even know what you guys are doing. All I can tell you is that immigration already doesn't believe that it's a real marriage, and you got to be, if you do the same thing over and over and over again, expect a different result. That's the definition of insanity.
No, they have submitted all the information.
You're not listening to me. You're not listen to me now. This couple filed. This is your sister. She filed an adjustment application. They went on 2 interviews. They couldn't prove it was a real marriage. Now they go back and refile again on their own, and are shuffling paper back and forth with immigration. Who the heck knows what the hell is going back and forth? Why do you expect a different result?
They have a lawyer now.
Then why are you calling me?
Okay, I'm calling you to know the contents of the letter they sent, because they have not been scheduled for an interview. They said that we are waiting for this document for us to make a final decision.
You got what's called an RFE, request for more evidence. So whoever your lawyer is didn't submit the proper documentation. So now you submit it, and now you got to wait for them.
Like how long?
What do I know? Why don't you ask your lawyer?
Okay.
What is he saying? What's up? What's up?
That is why I'm calling you for
You're asking me. I have this lawyer. We filed already. It got denied. We filed again. We're shuffling papers back and forth. They asked me for more documentation. The lawyer sent it, or at least supposedly sent it. Brad, when am I getting my green card? How would I know in a million years? If you want, and you don't like your lawyer, or you don't feel confident in that lawyer, then what you need is to have a consultation with me. Let me look at what this lawyer's done so I can give you some good advice.
Okay.
Hold on one second. But I can't tell.
So it's always wild to me when people with lawyers call in like saying, "What should I do?" I'm
Right.
like, "Shouldn't your lawyer?"
Call your lawyer. Well, I know. Meanwhile, I mean, I do know, but I don't know.
Right.
I mean, when I say what do I know, I'm saying what do I know? It's because I didn't do the case.
Right.
How would I know what's going to happen?
You don't know what the lawyers sent in,
Right,
what they
exactly.
didn't send in.
All right. Meanwhile, if you didn't get your immigration question asked and answered, you can always follow us on Brad Show Live. You follow us on Brad Show Live, you can drop your questions there. We will try to endeavor to answer them at a later date on our show. You can also, you can't handle 2 hours of our show, but you can handle 2 minutes. Follow us at Brad Show Live on Instagram. Also, you can follow us on TikTok. It's our fastest growing social media platform. You can leave your questions in the question and answer on TikTok. You may get a reply by me by video. And if you ask a crazy question, I can give you a crazy answer. And those are the ones that go viral.
This is true.
So if you want your question to go viral, ask a crazy question.
Right.
And of course, yo, what do you got?
Yep, you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And later in the show, we will hear the second part of my discussion with Steven Garza, the breakout star of Apple Plus 2021 Emmy-winning documentary Boy State.
And in today's VIP outtake, Brad and award-winning children and middle school author Angela Cervantes reflect on immigrant communities in America.
And that really is the history of every immigrant community in America. You know, one immigrant community comes from one area and they live there for a generation. And then the next immigrant community comes in from a different area to that same spot. And there becomes a whole melting pot of cultures. And that's what makes America great.
It's beautiful.
All right, we've come to that part of our show where Jonathan will scour all of the comments on YouTube and Facebook and ask me the best issues, problems, and questions of the day in something we like to call social media check-in. Let's do it.
All right, our first one comes from Annalie Parker, a Facebook VIP member. It's been 2 years since we submitted our original paperwork. However, it's been 1 year since we submitted an RFE NOID for an Adam Walsh Act. 3 months ago, we submitted a case inquiry request because the case is outside of normal processing time, but USCIS did not respond. Is this normal? And when do you think we'll hear from them? Well, it's not normal for USCIS to take over a year for a NOID, but when it's Adam Walsh, they take years. And what Adam Walsh is you are married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident who is on the child sex predator list because of a crime that he or she made in the past. And the Adam Walsh waiver is designed to protect you. And what you have to prove is that your life is not in jeopardy from living with a man or a woman who's on the child predator sex list. The problem becomes that they take years and years and years to make a decision. And when you take years and years and years to make a decision, a no decision is the same as a denial because you don't have a green card. So at some point in time, you have to force them to make a decision and take the case into appellate land. Appellate land means appeals courts if necessary. So I would suggest a mandamus at this point. Okay, Sasha Everbless Laidlaw, a VIP Facebook member. Is an immediate relative considered a child over the age of 21? If yes, does this category wait in line for a visa? An immediate relative is a spouse of a U.S. citizen, a parent of a U.S. citizen if that U.S. citizen is over the age of 21, or a child under the age of 21 of a U.S. citizen. But an immediate relative is not a child over the age of 21. That would be either an F1, which would be an unmarried child of a U.S. citizen, or an F3, which would be a married child of a U.S. citizen, and both of those have long visa waiting lists. Sandra Rose Studdard, VIP Facebook member. If I got a pay increase and a promotion, do I need to send in a new job and pay stub? For the I-130 for adult children over 2, priority date is June 2016.
Not unless they're asking for it.
Okay, Gowie Maxine on Facebook. Is there a special provision for a person who's under 50 and is unable to read and write well, but is applying for her citizenship?
Yeah, I think she called on the air, Yo-Yo, and my answer is only way is to get a medical workup with some medical tests to show that there's some mental deficiency.
Okay, Marco Salinas on YouTube. I submitted the requesting medical I-693. That's the only thing they required to approve my I-485. How soon will I receive approval and the green card?
Magic 8 Ball.
There we go.
What's this gentleman's name?
His name is Marco.
Marco submitted a new medical. Will he get his green card in the next 4 months? Immigration should be sending him within 4 months. But sometimes immigration doesn't follow their own rules. Will immigration follow their rules for Marco? And the Magic 8 Ball says, don't count on it. So it's going to be months and months and months according to the Magic 8 Ball.
I'm weak. Sandra said,
yes.
Use the Magic 8 Ball,
well, that's why I did it, Sandra. I did it right for her.
All right. KNS Natural on YouTube. How far is the priority date? March 2018. F1 unmarried child over 21.
All right, F1. Well, you can ask that question. The other thing you can do is just Google it. But F1 is up to December 1st, 2014. You're 2018. Unfortunately, about 3-4 more years.
All right. Shianka Gale on YouTube. I filed my VAWA case and got my work permit travel documents, but since February of this year have not heard back from USCIS. Should I contact them?
You can. Nothing bad will happen, but it's going to take some time. You contacting them is not making any difference other than it makes you feel better that you're contacting them.
KS on YouTube. If Plan C passes the Senate, can a person on parole join the military?
We answered that in the pre-schmooze.
Oh, that was the pre-schmooze.
Yes.
Okay. Tina Springer on Facebook. Can I file for my son who has been denied a 10-year green card because the marriage didn't work?
You file for your son for a 10-year green card.
Who has been denied a 10-year green card because the marriage didn't work.
If yes, absolutely you can, but he may be waiting a long time for his green card, and eventually he'll get his green card unless he was accused of marriage for it.
Okay, Lilith on YouTube. After I-130, how long does it take for I-485 to be approved?
3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? It's supposed to be, within months, but who knows?
Yannick on YouTube. Can my friend get married to a boyfriend who got his green card through marriage to an American citizen? She has a student visa that expires December 20th, 2021.
If the boyfriend got a green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen and then subsequently divorces that U.S. citizen and wants to marry you, he's got to wait 5 years from the time he got his green card, or unless he's a citizen.
Sebastian Sabaraj on YouTube. A U.S. attorney filed my friend's I-360 and G-28 last week.
We did this on the pre-schmooze.
Okay. Tani Smith on YouTube. My husband just swore in for his citizenship. He received the certificate. When can he start filing for the I-130? After he gets his U.S. passport?
No, as soon as he has a certificate, right now.
Okay, Some Paul on Facebook. Can I reapply for R1 visa after 5 years and skip 1 year, then reapply because the R1 visa has a 5-year limit?
Well, if you're out of the country, yeah.
Muhammad Islam on YouTube. I applied in July 2018 for a U visa. When should I get a work permit under bona fide determination?
You should be able to request it right now.
Okay, and last one, Share on YouTube. If my sister files for my mom from Jamaica, can my mom still travel on her visitor's visa while processing is going, or will it be an issue?
There's always an issue when you travel on a visitor's visa with an I-130 pending. The officer at the airport could always assume you have an immigrant intent. You're coming here to adjust your status. You always have to be careful about that. If you want to be 100% safe, don't travel. I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen at the airport. Almost always you get through, but sometimes there's a problem. Can never guarantee you.
All right.
All right. And we watched last week about Boy State. It's an organization founded in 1935, and sponsored by the American Legion to promote leadership skills among Texas young people. The 2021 Primetime Emmy Award winning documentary Boy State, streaming on Apple TV Plus, was filmed in Austin in 2018, following attendees during the week-long event. Steven Garza was one of the participants and became the breakout star of the film. Last week, he and I discussed in his family's immigration story how he was chosen for the film. Today, he will detail how Boy State works and what it was like interacting with over 1,000 of his peers at the program. Let's watch. Steven Garza is one of the breakout stars of Boy State, winner of the 2020 Sundance Grand Jury Prize and the 2021 Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Special. Directed and produced by Jesse Moss and Amanda McBain, the film follows 1,000 teenage boys attending the week-long program Boy State in Texas in the summer of 2018 to build a representative government from the ground up, including a slate of elected officials from governor to sheriff. Steven, who is Mexican-American and more liberal-minded, ran for governor of the Nationalist Party, while the majority of the students were conservative. The way in which Steven handled his campaign gained the attention and respect from everyone, from his fellow Boy State participants to former presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. With me to discuss his family's immigration story, how his experience at Boy State changed his life, and his perspective on politics and society is Steven Garza. Thank you for joining me today, Steven. Boy State was released on Apple TV Plus in August of 2020. Let's watch the trailer.
I will skip the part where I brag for 3 minutes about how great and cool I am, seeing as we are all qualified young men of skill and character. People like that stuff. Sounds good, yeah. People like that stuff a lot.
Some people say they're a sports junkie. I say I'm a politics junkie.
The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph.
I'm playing this like a game. I would like very much to win. I love it, boys. I love it. Where are you from?
I come from a very modest family. I'm on the course to be the first one to graduate from high school. I'm a progressive person, and I'm in a room full of mostly conservative people.
Our masculinity shall not be infringed.
I've never seen so many white people ever. I feel like everybody has a secret underlying need for bipartisanship.
A message of unity, as good as it sounds, is not winning anyone any elections.
Primary polls are now open.
Get yourselves ready for a turbulent election.
Whatever happens, dude, best of luck.
You win, I support you fully.
My name is Steven Garza, and I'm running for governor.
Most gets applause because...
As to the political views voiced in my speech, sometimes you gotta say what you gotta say in an attempt to win.
I think he's a fantastic politician. But I don't think a fantastic politician is a compliment either.
We're gonna do shock and awe. It's gonna be awesome. I want y'all to take out your phones and go on Instagram. Everyone, come on.
Oh my God.
Will we show the world what patriots are made of? That when things get tough, we pull ourselves by our bootstraps. One nation, under God, lovers of the Constitution of the United States of America.
That's politics, I think. That's politics.
Tell us how Boy State is structured. 1,100 kids together, they say, okay, make a state. What happens? You all go in a room and you say, okay, what do we do? I mean, what happens?
So our lives are very regimented. There's a strict schedule we have to follow to make sure that we can do everything we need to do throughout those 6 days. And so the most basic element is that about 40 of us go into what's called a city, and we elect our mayor. And we're divided up evenly between the Nationalist and Federalist Party, which are two political parties that they're just names, right? So Nationalists are blue, Federalists are yellow. They don't mean anything yet. We're randomly assigned to one. And all we know is that we hate the other party and we got to compete with them throughout the week. There are certain positions that once you run for them, you can't run for anything else. So for example, the mayor, since he is now an elected official, can no longer run for any other office. He can still run for party office if he wants to be the chairman of the party. So at that point, I'm starting to run for governor, which is a big gamble because if I mess up, I'm done for the week because everyone else has already ran for office and it's too late to get on the ballot and all the party positions have been filled up by the second day. Governor is the highest position at Texas Boy State. And so we're moving up this pyramid. Okay, now we go up to the county level and we elect, county chair, sheriffs and stuff like that.
How do these elections work? Everyone gives a stump speech. Why vote for me? Why would anybody want to vote for anybody if we don't even know what the political parties are? What were people saying? Why vote for me?
At the very first stage, it comes down to a lot of personality. So when you're running for mayor, so there's 40 of us in a room and you're running for mayor. There's, let's say 3 people choose to run for mayor and they all give like a 1.5 minutes speech about what they should run for mayor and they list up their accomplishments, or they may try to be funny and that may win the crowd over. They step outside and then we all do either like a vote, we do tallies on the board, or we just kind of put our heads down and lift when they call their name and somebody counts us. And so as you move up higher, obviously that's not going to work. And so that's when you actually have actual voting done on a computer. So for example, if you're voting in the governor primary, you're allowed to vote from 7 to 9 p.m. on that day on a computer.
You ran for governor of the Nationalist Party. How did the nationalist agenda come together?
It all comes together at the state party convention. You go down from city to county to district and then the state. And so in the state is when you have, so if there's 1,100 kids, you have roughly, 550 in each party. So at the state level, all 550 kids are in one room and it is chaos. The party, like in real life, the party convention is chaos and we all lived for it because people are new. So at that convention, we have to elect our party officers who will lead our party. What will our platform be? What issues are we going to take a stand on? What is our campaign message? How are we going to beat those Federalists? And they're doing the same thing in their own party. 95% of the kids in that room are just the background noise. They have no voting power. They influence certain stages of it, but not all of it. Not everybody votes at Boy State. Even though everyone is eligible to vote, some people just don't go do it. Like in real life, they don't just go to vote. So I think in the final race for governor, turnout was about 83%. So there was a nice chunk of people who didn't bother to go vote. And so it's really so whose side voted more could end up being the factor who decides who wins the elections.
It's very real life in a way.
Yeah.
Robert was one of the people who was running against you. He was from the other party. He played to a fervent base that's a lot more conservative than he really was himself. You want to talk about that? And how that you think relates to maybe even some of our current politicians?
Yeah, so Robert actually, he ran against me in the primary. So we were both nationalists. So we were both in the same party. We ended up being the top 2 candidates in the primary and the runoff election. So it's basically me or him who will be the nationalist nominee for governor. And so at the time, I didn't know that he was lying about his political positions. I wouldn't find that out until over a year later when I saw a rough cut of the film and got to see him stating that, hey, these positions that I'm rooting for aren't really the positions that I actually hold, but this is kind of like a game and I want to win it. And this is a conservative group, so I should play to their conservative politics. Robert is such a character and I love him so much. He is, as you see him on screen in real life, he is, just he's funny and very goofy.
You liked him despite the fact that you were running against him.
Yeah, I know, and there was a lot of mutual respect. And so something that, and I'll mention that how I dealt with him was when it comes out during that runoff election that day, it comes out that I had organized and supported a March for Our Lives rally in Houston, which was a pro-gun reform march that I had led. And obviously the Second Amendment is a hot button issue at Texas Boy State. And so there was a lot of rumors that I was very anti-gun and then I supported, all these different things because I had been associated with this organization. And so when Robert gets wind of this, he could have easily went up to that podium first and eviscerated me on guns and probably would have, ran away with the entire race. But instead, and you see this in the film, he pulls me off to the side. He asked me what my positions on guns are. He says he's been hearing some stuff and he doesn't want to attack me for it. So he lets me go first and explain my position. And it was really at that moment when I realized that, it was such a class act thing to do, to not use this newfound ammunition against me, but to really let me go first and say, I'm not going to attack you on this. Go up there and explain your position. He says, whoever wins, I support, if you win, I support you fully. And I tell him likewise, because I really, at that moment, found so much respect for him.
It's very funny, though, because you wouldn't see that in politics today.
No, and I think it's because young people see the politics that happens in Washington and then they see it And they hate it. There's nobody in this country who doesn't hate the way politics is run in Washington, D.C. Everybody complains about Congress people. Everyone complains about bureaucracy or whatever it is. And so we see that and we're like, we don't want to do that. We want to do things differently. We're still going to argue and we're going to beat the hell out of each other on certain issues and we're going to fight and things like that. But we don't feel that because we disagree with each other politically doesn't mean that, we're still not each other's neighbors and that we can't be friendly about it and be friends with one another. Really, if he had won the primary, I would have been his biggest supporter because I always felt that he treated me with respect.
You and Renee Otero, who is African-American, you were aligned with the same party, and Renee is also featured in the film. And there was some racist propaganda used against Renee. Tell us about that, and how did Renee and you handle this situation?
There was an Instagram account that started posting some very racist propaganda memes, whatever you want to call it, against Renee. And word had got around that's what happened. And behind closed doors, it's not captured in the film, but they gathered all of us at one point throughout the week. And the people running the program, the counselors, basically, let us know that, of course, it was unacceptable that, whoever would be found would be kicked out of the program. But they really do believe in the motto of learn by doing, giving the students the tools they need to form a government and just standing back and observing them and make sure they don't kill each other. That's really all they're there for. People really rallied around Renee after that because both sides had really disavowed that person and came, even if they didn't like Renee personally, that rallied around him throughout his impeachment process, right? When Renee was facing an impeachment, out of 550 kids, only 12 voted to impeach him, which was a resounding victory for him and everybody. And he felt that love and support afterwards because obviously he was doing a good job and a lot of people respected him.
All right, so tomorrow we're going to hear how being a part of Boys State changed Steven's life, including being invited to meet President Bill Clinton. He was actually on President Bill Clinton's podcast. He has a new job now and where he sees himself in the future. All right, Yo-Yo.
Okay.
9 immigration questions.
Yep.
We're coming to the Ed DeBrad Show live.
Oh.
But we got 9 more to go in 50 seconds.
So let's get it.
Let's
all right
do it,
this
Ian.
this whole week.
Yeah. For the holidays.
For the holidays.
Yes.
All right.
Correct. The holidays would not be the same blowing up our studio.
Right.
All right, you ready? Put 50 seconds on the clock.
So I'm going to let you tell me when it starts.
I'm ready to start. Ian presses the... he already started.
Can
Go.
a person fly to another state without a green card or citizenship?
Yes, if you have a valid passport.
USCIS messaged me that a new card is being produced. What does this mean?
It means a new card is being produced.
My mom is a green card holder. Can she file for me since I'm in the U.S.?
Yes.
How long will it be if my priority date is March 2018?
Another 3-4 years.
My I-130 was denied. What can I do next?
Refile again. Figure out the reason for the denial.
If a spouse withdraws from her husband I-751, can he file for U.S. citizenship?
You can file to remove the conditions first and then become a citizen, yes.
Is it safe to apply for a certification of non-existence?
I don't even know what that means.
How long will it take for to file for a sibling who overstayed?
At least 15 years.
Can someone who overstayed on J1 over 2 years get legal status?
Perhaps they're out of status like everybody else.
All right. That's it. We
They
got
blew
it.
us up anyway.
We got it.
And they started 3 seconds too early.
Right. We got it.
And there was an immigration question about filing for a certificate of non-existence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There is a form for non-existence. Boom. I don't exist. Boom.
That's
Look,
it.
I don't exist.
That's it.
That's it. I don't exist. That's all you got to do. You go, I don't exist. What kind of question is that?
Oh, Lord. Well, we got it.
A certificate of non-existence.
I didn't know what the heck that was.
A certificate of non-existence exists? A certificate of non-existence. That's news to me. But Jill says it exists. Yeah. I thought she was asking, can I file for something? I guess the question is that it's not, the way it was worded was, I'm thinking it's like that they don't exist. But I guess a certificate of non-existence means that there is no record of any existence of any record at any particular agency for you. I think that's what they were. But it all still depends what the purpose you need it for.
All right.
But in 50 seconds in a speed round,
That's
I
not
took
what
it
you-
originally
Yeah.
as I need an application that I don't exist. I don't exist. All right.
All right.
Comments of the day.
Let's get it. Comments of the day. All right, our first comment of the day comes from Diva Cat, the go-getter, saying, "Hey, Brad, first-time listener here."
All right, very good. I hope it's not your last.
Right.
It's our first time. I'm never coming back again. No,
Oh,
come back
no.
every time.
Yes.
I don't
please.
know what there should be another part, and I'm going to come back every time. I hope so, Diva Cat.
Yes.
All right.
All right, our second comment of the day. Olufemi O saying, hello everybody. Appreciate your wonderful, great job for the immigrant community for free. Big ups, Brad and team.
Thank you very much.
Yes, they love that for free.
Yes, they like the free part.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine we start charging to watch this.
Ooh,
People would be up in arms.
they would.
Yes, there would be an insurrection.
We won't do that
A
to
coup
y'all.
d'etat.
We won't do that
We
to y'all.
won't do that to
Don't
you.
worry. And our last comment of the day. Danielle Toussaint saying, Brad is the king of immigration law. There's no other lawyer like Brad the King.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, so another good day.
Yes.
We will see you tomorrow for tea. I wonder what they have percolating for us. You get it? Percolating.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK. 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?